Hello everybody, this is my next how to crochet video. This time I have an example what I'm going to teach you. It's a granny triangle. Unlike the granny square, it's a different shape, so I figured we could be kind of mathematical here today. And I decided to change color just a little bit. Instead of yellow, doing blue. Do the whole rainbow. The next one I was thinking about doing is a red circle. But let's go get straight into it. Again, we start off with our hook, strand, everything. So then get that out of the way, and then we're going to do a chain of 4, 2, and 4, and then do our slip stitch to make the ring. Now the pattern that I got from a website called Crocheting with Raymond. There's a cute little Siamese cat on there. One of my cats was Siamese, so I kind of liked the video. So after we do our chain of 3, we're going to do a total of 8 different double crochets. So like when we did the granny square, we did the double crochets, a chain, double crochets, chain, double crochets. In this one we do chain of 8. So I've already lost track of count. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then we're going to do a slip stitch in the 3rd chain. So the original chain that we did, we're going to do the slip stitch there. And then we have circle. So we're going to chain 3 and turn. And then we're going to make a space and do 2 double crochets, and then chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then in the same spot we're going to do a total of 3 double crochets, 2 and 3, then chain 1. We're going to yarn over, count out 3 different double crochets in the ring, and then do 3 more double crochets in the space, and chain 3, and then we're going to do 3 more double crochets in that same spot. We're going to chain 1, do the exact same thing, count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like the Tootsie Roll Pop commercial. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I still only have 2. I said the 3 too soon. So chain 1, and then we're going to do the slip stitch on the 3rd chain up. So we have the basis of our triangle right there. So we're going to chain 3 again, turn, and then this is where it's going to be very similar to the granny square. We do the beginning, we chain 1, and then in the next space we do the 3 double crochets, 2, 3, and on every corner we chain 3, and then do another set of 3 double crochets in that hole, chain 1, and this is where it becomes very much like the granny square. except for instead of working with 4 sides, we're working with 3. Chain 1, and then 1 more, 1, 2, and 3. 3 more double crochets, 2, 3, chain 1, get more yarn. I got a basket this time to curtail the rolling ball of yarn, so it doesn't, well, I don't think it really matters if it comes into frame or not, but on the granny triangle you're gonna go pretty much just like you do a granny square, except for the corners you do a chain of 3, and in between each little section you're gonna do a chain of 1. However, this is the main reason why I chose to do this one next, because it's pretty much the same principles of the granny square, but it is a different. So we have basic triangle going. So, and then as you go up in rows, you just, every time that you're working with the side, you chain 1. And every time that you're at a corner, you'll chain 3. So I'll just do another row so you can get the idea. 1, 2, and 3. One of the reasons why I like doing granny squares is because it feels like I'm, at the very beginning I'm more productive, so I think that I'm getting more done. But the larger the granny, or whatever you do, is the larger the actual, the more time it gets spent. I tend to like quick projects, so one of the reasons why I use bigger hooks. I actually tried to do a doily once, and I think it's still the size of a teacup, so that it just was taking way too long and I got bored with it. But usually I tend to go with the P size hook, or I don't tend to use the Q size hook, which I think that's the largest hook that I've ever used, mainly because it looks too loose and there's too many gaps going on that I kind of feel like it isn't a good blanket. However, the thicker the yarns that you're using, the more apt that you'll want to use a bigger hook. Now, also I use bigger hooks when I do multiple strands of yarn. That way that it doesn't, the yarn doesn't, the tension doesn't get too tight. So, but the whole doing the granny square gets kind of repetitive, and I know people who have told me that they get kind of tired of doing granny squares because it's the same thing over and 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 over again. And so, but I know with granny squares they're pretty easy to do, and if you're learning how to crochet, that practice and repetition can be more beneficial to a beginner than anything else. So, and this time I actually remembered to bring scissors to actually snip the end. And you just pull it through. And that's how you do a granny triangle. A granny square triangle, however you want to. So, and then I do recommend visiting the link. I'll even trim this a little bit while I'm talking. The Crochet with Raymond. That's where I got the pattern to do the granny triangle. I've seen it before and I've always wanted to do it, but and it even is kind of like shield-like because it kind of bows itself out. But that is how you do a grand triangle. Thanks for watching.